The Spanish sun beat down on the rugged mountainside of Masca, a place both breathtaking in beauty and merciless in danger. For weeks it had been the center of international attention, as search crews scoured its perilous ravines and volcanic cliffs for missing 19-year-old Briton Jay Slater, the apprentice bricklayer from Oswaldtwistle, Lancashire, whose disappearance on Tenerife had gripped two nations. When police finally announced that Jay's body had been discovered, his family was hit with yet another cruel twist. They were not told the exact location of where he was found. To the Slater family, who had been camped in anguish on the island since June, this silence was unbearable. They needed to see the place where their boy had taken his last breath, to understand the terrain, and perhaps, if only briefly, to feel close to him one last time. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. So, with the help of private volunteers and mountain guides, Jay's family deployed their own search team to retrace the path the teenager might have taken, determined to uncover the final piece of his story that officials seemed unwilling to share. A family in limbo. Jay had vanished after a night out, reportedly leaving a party at an Airbnb in the remote mountain village of Masca. His phone pinged one last time near a ravine, then silence. For days, helicopters circled overhead, drones hovered, and search dogs sniffed tirelessly. His mother, Debbie, exhausted yet unrelenting, gave interviews where her voice cracked, but her resolve never wavered. When authorities eventually confirmed his body had been located, relief collided violently with devastation. But instead of closure, the family found themselves in limbo once again. "They just told us he was gone," said Debbie, speaking to friends back in Lancashire. "But they won't tell us where." How are we supposed to grieve properly if we can't even know where our Jay spent his last moments? The unanswered questions. The family's frustration was echoed by many who had followed the case online. Why would local police refuse to reveal the location? Some speculated it was to deter morbid tourists or amateur sleuths from descending on the site. Others believed investigators were keeping the spot secret because the case remained under review, with certain details too sensitive to release. But for the Slater family, such reasoning brought no comfort. What mattered most was that Jay was not just a statistic, not just a tragic headline. He was their son, brother, and friend. They needed to stand on the ground he had stood on. They needed to breathe the same mountain air. Recruiting a private search team. With official channels stonewalling them, Jay's relatives began to quietly assemble their own team. Local guides familiar with the treacherous Barranco de Juan Lopez Valley offered their help. British volunteers who had flown in during the original search pledged to return. Even a handful of online supporters, ordinary people moved by Jay's story, reached out offering equipment, supplies, and expertise. On a sweltering morning, just days after the official discovery, the group gathered near the entrance to the Masca Trail. Some carried hiking poles, others drones, and all bore expressions of determination. Debbie, clutching a framed photo of Jay, whispered to the volunteers, "Please, just show me where my boy was. That's all I want." Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. The harsh reality of Masca. The trek was grueling. Masca's trails are infamous, narrow ridges with sheer drops, rocks that crumble beneath a misplaced step, and canyons that swallow sound. Guides explained that dehydration, heat stroke, and disorientation strike even seasoned hikers. As the family's group climbed higher, Debbie paused often, staring out over jagged ravines. "How did he even make it this far?" she asked aloud, half to herself. Some recalled that Jay had reportedly left the Airbnb without food or water, wearing only casual clothes and trainers. Every turn seemed to deepen the family's understanding of the impossible odds their boy had faced. A silent pilgrimage. Hours into the climb, the group reached a narrow pass where the path forked. The guide stopped, lowering his voice. This is close. This is where many believe the police found him." The air shifted. Debbie clutched her chest, while Jay's brother Zach placed a steadying arm around her shoulders. Volunteers removed their caps, bowing their heads. For a few long minutes, there were no words, only the sound of the wind rushing through volcanic gullies and the cry of distant seabirds. Debbie finally broke the silence. "This is it. I know it. My baby was here." The need for answers. Standing at the spot, the family placed flowers and a small cross into the rocky soil. It was the memorial they had been denied by authorities, a ritual of closure that came not from officials, but from their own determination. Yet even as Debbie wept into her son's photograph, a deeper frustration burned. Why had it come to this? Why must a grieving family hire strangers, hike dangerous terrain, and piece together scraps of information just to find the truth? The Slaters are now calling for a full review of the investigation, pressing for transparency about the circumstances of Jay's discovery. Friends back in the UK have begun circulating petitions demanding Spanish police release all available details to the family. A divided community. Reactions online remain divided. Some sympathize completely with the Slaters' plight, praising their courage and condemning the secrecy. Others argue the police acted responsibly, protecting both the dignity of the deceased and the safety of the public by withholding details. But even among critics, few can deny the raw humanity of a mother climbing dangerous trails just to stand where her son's life ended. No parent should have to go through this, wrote one supporter on social media. But if they do, the least they deserve is honesty. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Shadow of Conspiracy. Adding fuel to the family's urgency are the countless conspiracy theories swirling around Jay's death. From far-fetched claims of foul play to suspicions about why he left the Airbnb alone, speculation has been relentless. The lack of transparency only deepens the shadows, allowing rumors to flourish. The Slaters' independent search, while painful, is also a way to combat this fog. By physically standing at the location themselves, they hope to reclaim their son's story from gossip and reclaim it as their own truth. A mother's final words at the site. As the sun dipped low over Tenerife, painting the cliffs in fiery orange, Debbie knelt at the spot where she believed her son had fallen. She placed her hand on the warm rock and spoke softly. "I'm here, Jay. I found you. They didn't tell me, but I found you. And I'll never stop fighting until everyone knows your story." Her words carried on the mountain wind, a vow etched into the landscape itself. Looking ahead, the Slater family has since returned to the UK, bringing Jay's body home for burial. But their campaign for answers is far from over. They are now preparing to launch a foundation in Jay's name, aimed at supporting families who face similar nightmares abroad. Too many parents are left in the dark when tragedy happens overseas, Debbie explained. We want Jay's legacy to shine a light for others. For now, the Masca Mountains remain both a place of horror and of solace for the family. They may never have wanted to return, but they are grateful they did. Because in doing so, they transformed a mystery into a memory and silence into a voice. Closing reflection. The story of Jay Slater is not just about a young man lost on a mountain. It is about a family's refusal to let bureaucracy and silence rob them of their right to mourn. It is about the power of ordinary people who, faced with official indifference, take extraordinary steps to find the truth. And it is about love, a mother's love so strong that, even in the face of scorching heat, jagged cliffs, and official silence, she would walk to the ends of the earth to find the place where her son's heart stopped beating. For Debbie Slater, the journey to Masca was not just a search. It was a pilgrimage. And though it ended in tears, it also ended in connection, proof that, even in death, a bond between mother and son cannot be broken. Subscribe the channel to get such videos.